These 4 decisions will quietly determine whether your pension will last a lifetime or slowly drain your blood. Even one of those errors usually leaves you without a second chance to fix it. Pensions aren't just paychecks. You're right, because before the first deposit goes into your account, you get a series of choices that are basically permanent. These options are on your lap when pensions themselves have become rare animals. According to the Federal Reserve's Consumer Finance Survey, the share of American workers covered by defined benefit plans plunged from 59% in 1989 to 21% in 2022. From 2010 to 2022, the number of large traditional DB projects has fallen by nearly 48%, according to the Congressional Research Service. That is, if you do have one, you have a lot of things that your colleagues will never see. So let's make sure you don't make mistakes. Decide whether to choose a one-time payment or a monthly lifetime check. This is the biggest one. Your employer usually gives you 2 choices: huge sums or pay a monthly annuity for the rest of your life. That is where it gets furtive. Because the scale of one-time payments is not out of thin air. This figure is calculated using the IRS minimum present value segment interest rate in accordance with Section 417E3D of the tax code. That means interest rates quietly control your spending. When interest rates rise, the present value of pension payments will decline in the future. Your one-time payments have shrunk too. Lower interest rates have pushed up one-time payments. Shinan Financial Group pointed out that young participants experienced the most volatility because their payments are future-oriented. Tax traps await. The IRS safe haven explanation makes this clear. If you pay directly in one-time cash, 20% automatic withholding of federal taxes. The solution to this headache is a direct transition to the traditional ERR. Where money grows, taxes are delayed until you actually get the money out. Converting it to Roth means you owe the full amount of tax on that year's conversion. So, which option wins? Smart currency bluntly. Say, quotation. The one-time payment option works in her favor, only if her life expectancy is well below average. Annuity options offer protection against exhaustion. Sindai. Charles Schwab stood in the middle. That is a one-time payment, and then use some of the money to buy an instant fixed annual fee to cover your basic expenses. Fidelity paints it more vividly. Explain the risk of paying off all investments in a lump sum. All longevity risks. The risk of inflation has shifted from your previous employer to you personally. This is a huge burden for one person. The second decision is whether to choose an only child or live together. If you get an annuity every month, then there is the fork in the road. The one-child annuity gives you the best chance to cut your monthly ticket. But the day you die, stop paying. Although union annuities and survivors' annuities give you less each month and continue to pay a certain percentage of your spouse after you leave, usually 50%, 75%, or 100% of your benefits. No one will tell you this unless you sit across from the Human Resources Department. Under ERISA, as amended by the Retirement Rights Act of 1984. If you're married, you want to choose from everything but qualified unions and survivors' pensions. Your spouse must provide a notarized written consent. The IR did not play with that rule either, and their own guidance calls about planning errors that failed to get the proper spouse's consent. Quotation: incorrect business qualification will result in the loss of tax eligibility status for the project. Why is this important to you personally? Cerity Partners frames it perfectly, pointing out that single life produces the biggest difference in outcomes. If you live longer, you win. If you can't live, you lose. That means you're basically betting on your life span. Lost the bet. Your living spouse may transition from comfort to financial distress overnight. A single choice makes sense only if your spouse already holds his or her own pension or retirement savings, or when you buy a large life insurance policy specifically to replace that income. The third decision involves when to start paying pensions and how to include them in Social Security. Most pensions set a normal retirement age, usually 65, starting with actuarial reduction, while procrastination tends to increase your monthly expenses. Because of the short payment window, you may get longer service or a higher final salary. The bigger issue waiting for you is Social Security. The National Security Agency confirmed that deferring to full retirement age earned 8% of deferred retirement points a year until age 70. T. Rowe Price calculates that when you file a claim at age 70, monthly benefits are at least 76% higher than when you file a claim at age 62. That is an early saying. For the first 36 months before full retirement age, your benefits will be reduced by 5/9% per month. Then, for every additional month before that, 5/12%. Now that development is quietly rewriting everything for millions of public sector retirees. The 5th of January 2025, President Biden signed the Social Security Equity Act, Public Law 118 to 273. It abolished windfall elimination clauses and government pension offsets. For decades, the rules slashed teachers, police officers, firefighters, and certain federal workers whose pensions come from jobs that are not covered by Social Security. The repeal dates back to January 2024. From the 25th of February 2025, the NSA began adjusting payments. If you're a public sector pensioner, your entire Social Security claims that math may have changed under your feet. That means it is time to recount. The fourth is to protect the pension you already count on. Here are troubling facts. Your pension will only be as safe as the plan that pays it. Pension Benefits Co. Ltd. PBGC. ERISA's private sector benefit plan insurance. But if your plan fails, the federal government will limit their guarantees. In 2026, the People's Bank of China guarantees up to $7,789.77 a month for 65-year-olds receiving lifetime annuities. The maximum annuity for co-signers and 50% of survivors is $7,010.79. By age 75, the linear life limit climbed to $23,680.9. Younger retirees receive a lower cap because they expect to receive a longer period. Most retirees under the PBGC Trusted Program are subject to these restrictions. But the multi-employer plan guarantees follow an entirely different formula and pay much less. The American Academy of Actuaries has also warned about what they call the 80% pension financing myth, because 80% of financial support programs are not automatically healthy. Trajectories matter as much as contributions. Then, there are takeover offers to consider. Companies are increasingly trying to reduce risk on their balance sheets by paying one-time severance payments to former employees. As early as 2019, General Electric froze pension plans for about 20,000 American workers and offered one-time buyouts to about 100,000 former employees. The Pension Rights Center actually keeps a list of companies that do the same thing. When the envelope arrives in your mailbox, it is worth a real analysis. Not soon, yes or no. Another point about this is inflation. According to the Pension Rights Center, most private pensions do not include automatic cost of living adjustments. That is true of most state and federal pensions. By contrast, in 2026, the Coke yield was 2.8%. Benefits for nearly 71 million beneficiaries. This means that today's seemingly generous fixed private pensions quietly lose purchasing power after retirement every year. Let's get back to where we started. There are 4 more decisions: lump sum payments and annuities, single and co-survivors, when to start your pension, and how it matches Social Security, and how well your plan is actually protected. The median private pension in 2024 was only $11,440 a year, using census data from March 2025. According to the Pension Rights Center, state and local government pensions average $24,930. Federal pensions reach $33,310. These numbers are unaffordable because you sign something you don't fully understand. Pensions are a once-in-a-lifetime financial tool. The documents in front of you are basically permanent. So, take your time. So run the numbers twice. And then, if there is anything in this video that makes you rethink a choice, that is why we succeeded.